What's up guys, Rob from All Out Performance UK here, coming at you for a growth video this week on my journey on how to set up for a deadlift. So, those of you that know me, I really struggle with conventional deadlift and my hips tend to shoot up as I pull the weight like this. The problem with this is that my hips shoot up, I don't really get the tension, I kind of end up yanking the bar off the ground. And for me, for someone who's fairly mobile at the hip, obviously I feel like I lose a ton of power, and which is why I recently switched to sumo deadlift. And my sumo deadlift has gone right through the roof. I mean, my old one at max conventional was about 190, 195. And recently I did my first ever build-up cycle for sumo deadlift, ended up pulling 215. So rather than going around it, which is what I did, whoops, I'm actually going to address the issue and kind of fix my conventional deadlift, but I'm going to do it as sort of a lighter weights and almost in like a hypertrophy phase, so not for maximal strength, but just hypertrophy, sort of between 8 to 12 reps, kind of the focus on form and you know build some muscle around that area just to help with my movement patterns and so forth. What I want to talk about is how Ash has helped me with this a lot, is just how to set up. So if you get your setup right, not much can go wrong because it's actually quite a simple movement. But the setup is what's throwing me off. So I tend to sit with my hips too low, which I've recently found out is quite a common thing. There's quite a few people I know who do this. So hopefully this video will work quite well for you. And basically it's how I now set up for a conventional deadlift to stop that hip hike, to stop the hips shooting up. So obviously it's easier said than done to just say, well, just set up with your hips a bit higher than you normally do. It's quite hard to get out of that comfort zone, especially for me personally. I feel like I'm almost doing a stiff-legged deadlift to put myself in the right position. Feels super uncomfortable, but when I deadlift right, it does feel good. And Ash says, watching me says, that's perfect for your, for your lever length and all that. So just gonna go over a couple of points that I do. So first of all is obviously make sure you set up with the bar over the middle of your foot. So this is obviously important. So when pressed through the ground, obviously the bar is over our center of gravity. So looking down on it, you don't want the bar pretty much touching your shin. You want the bar sort of over, the middle of your laces. So I'm going to put a little clip here of me walking up to it from sort of my view. So when I look down, obviously I've got two little night ticks on my ankle socks here. Just in front of that is the middle of my foot. So what I do, I visually look at that, and then I make sure I'm lined up, and then obviously I actually turn my feet out slightly as well. I don't have them dead square, just to create a little bit of external rotation at the hip, just to feel my glutes just tighten up a little bit more. Cool, so hopefully that helps you looking from the top down. So next bit I do is, once I've set my feet, I'm going to address the bar by grabbing the bar with my hands, setting my grip. So I do this while keeping my legs locked out. So the reason I do this is to, without manipulating the bar's position for my feet and rolling the bar backwards and forwards, I'm just going to grab the bar, and what this does, it actually starts my hip really high. So what you'll see is my knees are locked out, I'm bending over to go pick the bar, but there's obviously quite a lot of rounding in my back. So we'll fix that in 2 seconds, not to worry, I'm not going to pull in that position for obvious reasons. But for me, I'm just going to set my grip, make sure I don't move the bar, and then my next step is the important part. So with this next step, what I do is I flex at the ankle and drop my hips a little bit until I feel my shin touch the bar. So there's not a lot of travel there, it's probably about that much. I think the bar's away from my shin. But when I touch the bar with my shin, not push the bar forward, as soon as I touch it, I stop. So from here, my hips stay still, and then what I do is I thoracically extend to straighten my back out. And what that does is that puts my hip at optimal position, doesn't push the bar forward or backwards, so it keeps the bar over the middle of my foot. And then all I have to do is just tighten my back up, screw my lats in, and then all you have to do from that point is just push through the floor, which results in a lift like this. Perfect. So that's what I've been doing recently to help with my setup. Really hopes this works for you guys. So just to reiterate, set the feet first over the middle of the foot, grab the bar with your legs straight or a slight bend in the knee, drop the hips down very slowly and push your shins forward until you feel the touch, and once you feel the shins touch the bar, stop and then tighten the back up, and then all you have to do from there is push through the ground. So like I said, I really hope that helps you guys. That's helping me a ton personally. It makes my deadlifts feel a lot better. Still a bit weird, but definitely getting used to it, and it doesn't feel like I'm kind of yanking the bar or shooting out of position as I go to pull sort of the medium weights to start with. I probably still will with heavier weights, but this is something I'm going to build up eventually over time. All right? So look after yourselves, guys. Deadlift safe, make sure your setup's good. If you're not sure if you're deadlifting correctly, film it from side on and just watch the hip motion, watch the back angle. I mean, those are the only 2 points that you really need to focus on, you know, in terms of the basics. But if you've got that covered, you should be good to go. All right, guys, take care. Rob out.